What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Leading the Pack. I'm your host, Dom Clegg, mental performance coach and a former college football coach, and I'm here to help you turn your mindset into your ultimate weapon. In this podcast, we're going to break down tools, habits, and strategies to help you thrive, elevate your leadership and performance, and be the alpha of your life. Each episode is going to bring inspiring stories and powerful lessons from game changers, trailblazers, and alphas who've overcome challenges and achieved greatness. Now, it's time to level up and lead your pack. Now, let's go attack this work together. What's up, everyone? Like I said, this is Dom Clegg. I'm super excited to be here for the first episode of Leading the Pack. This first one is going to be a little bit different than probably most of them. I'm going to bring on guests, and we're going to talk through people that are high performers in their industries and how they've been able to help and impact others. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to impact you, hopefully, and be able to bring more and more for you to elevate your game and elevate whatever you're doing in your performance and your leadership. So, I wanted to give you a little story about me. I wanted to let you guys know who I am. What I've been learning through some various personal development is leaders have to be vulnerable. They have to let you know who they are. Otherwise, you're not going to trust them. And so if you're a leader, I guess that's a call to action. That's a challenge for you to go be vulnerable with the people that you're leading so they can trust you a little bit more day by day. And so with me, I wanted to kind of talk about my path, kind of how I've got here, how I became a mental performance coach. And I feel like it's been a huge thing for me to have that personal growth, have that leadership in my life to help me. So when I think back, when I was a college football coach, there was a lot going on in my life. I was all over the place as a GA, sometimes sleeping less than a week than I would be working in a day. And it's crazy to think about, but so grateful for that experience. So grateful for the people I was blessed to get to know and work with. But as part of my journey, I started at Ohio Dominican. I'll go back a little bit more. After I graduated from Ohio Dominican, after playing football there, was blessed to be able to win a conference championship there. I started coaching for a year with my high school football team of Bishop Watterson, and that was a great experience. And that's kind of what motivated me to get into college coaching. I was blessed to get into Ohio Dominican as a graduate assistant. After 2 seasons there, I left to go to Kent State, where I was a graduate assistant there as well. At Kent State, probably some of the biggest growth I had as a coach from being with Coach Paul Haynes and then with Coach Sean Lewis. After that, I went to Western Colorado real quick, was able to run my own room for the first time. And I was blessed that Coach Coach Jazz Baines was trusting enough to let me run my own room with the DBs. And after a short stint, I went to Wheeling, and Coach Bruni and Coach Gaiman over there really saw some great things in me, and they allowed me to run the linebackers as well as be the special teams coordinator. And talk about, again, some more growth of having to run a full unit of football, right? One whole side of the ball of special teams, and then also contributing with the linebackers. After my 2 years there, I ended up going to Arkansas State for a little bit, worked with the DBs. And then at that point in time, I was kind of in a point in my life where I wasn't sure if coaching was the right fit for me anymore, or at least coaching football. After my short stint there, I decided to leave, and I ended up getting a job, which was great. It's been awesome for me, and it's been something that I'm truly blessed to be able to have this platform and be able to do what I do in mental performance coaching, because I help support that right now. And I think back on my time. I think back of what I truly loved about football coaching, and just watching the development of the young men I was around was probably my favorite part. It was just so awesome to see them grow as not only football players, but as people. And I think that was one of the reasons why I truly wanted to get into mental performance coaching, because I realized that my time with the linebackers at Wheeling, my time with DBs and linebackers at Kent State, and just seeing them grow as people was a huge thing for me. I loved coaching the X's and O's. I loved game planning, watching film and being able to find the little detail that's going to give us the edge was a lot of fun. But the thing that I loved the most was just sitting down and learning about them, learning about their lives, learning about what they want to do with their life when they're done with football, or when they're done with football, maybe after they go pro, whatever it was. And I think that was huge for me to be able to look back and see that the development of those players helped me get to where I am today and find what my purpose is for life. And so when I thought about what I wanted to do beyond just making money and living a life, I was like, I want to make an impact. But how do you do that? There's a whole bunch of ways to make impact. Like if you have money, you can just throw money at things and kind of develop people through philanthropy. You can also utilize your different skill sets, but what are those skill sets that you can utilize? And so when I thought about my time as a coach, I realized that leadership and personal development of players isn't always at the forefront. And I totally get it. Like being in that world, there's so much that's going on. You have to win games, you have to develop players on the field, you have to make sure they're doing good in academics. And so sometimes leadership and personal development falls to the wayside. So I was like, what can I do? Well, I know a little bit about leadership. I'm gonna need to learn more to be the best I possibly can be, but I have some things that I can teach people. And so I wanted to be that gap between what head coaches expected of their players and even of their coaches, and then what was actually being taught or coached to them. Because there is a gap there. And some players, the 1-2%, they are natural leaders and they can do that. But most of the guys that you need to lead your team, they need to learn how to do that. And I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to be able to help with that leadership and that personal development and that performance development to help them reach their ultimate potential. So I started looking and figuring out how I was going to do this. And one of the reasons I think leadership is one of the big reasons I love developing people is because I think about my time at Ohio Dominican. So my first year at Ohio Dominican, Bill Conley was the head coach. And after he was done coaching, Coach Kelly Cummings took over as the head coach. So under Coach Cummings, he was actually my DC when I was at Ohio Dominican as a player. He came in my senior year and was part of that conference championship team. And I could only imagine I'll have to bring on Coach Cummings at some point to give a little brief overview of what he thought when he saw that I was one of the guys that he was probably gonna have to figure out how to get on the field and utilize and maximize, because some 5'10", not so fast, can't really jump white boy is probably not the top of what you want for your defense. But somehow he made it work. Coming back to when he became the head coach, um, one of his big things in his head coaching binder or his philosophy was he was going to develop a leadership committee. He was going to have a committee of guys on the team that were either going to be captains, guys he saw as leaders, or even like true freshmen that he saw a potential to lead this team at some point. So guys that may not be in a leadership role yet, he still wanted to start developing them into leaders so that way they could have impact on the team. And he did this through Tim Kite's R Factor, which was so cool to see how he was developing these leaders at that time. And that was really my first taste of leadership development in football coaching. And that sticks with me today of we need more of that. Coaches need to do more of that to help their team. And I think a lot of guys can learn as like a sponge and just kind of absorb it, but a lot of guys need that teaching, that focused teaching of how to be a leader. And so that was my first time witnessing it firsthand, and I really thought that was great. Another thing that I really believe in is, as a position coach, a coordinator, whatever it is, if all I did was teach them football for however long I was with them, then I had failed them. I had not done my job as a coach to make them a better person. So what I always made sure I did with my linebackers was at the beginning of every meeting, we'd take like 5 minutes and we'd do personal or leadership development. And I made sure it was at the beginning because, when you get into installs or game planning, things can run long and you kind of just run out of time and then it's on to the next thing. So what I felt like was if we put it in the first 5 minutes, I'm going to make sure I get this leadership development with them. So that was huge for me. And I felt like it really helped our linebackers become better people and really perform at a high level. So coming back, I guess, a little bit more recently, after I get out of coaching and I have this job, I wanted to make sure I found a way to develop people and impact them even more. So I had a few ideas that I was teaching with the linebackers at Wheeling, which was EATT, effort, attitude, target, and toughness, 4 controllables that we always have in our life. So that was things that I would implement with them. And I was like, well, I know this. I want to do this with other teams. So like, how can I do this? So I reached out to my guy, Coach Rob over at Bethany and Coach Kennedy over at Bishop Watterson. And this was in 2022. So I was able to talk with them and be like, hey, can I just come speak to your team for free? I don't even know if I'm any good. I don't know what my message is going to be, but hopefully it's good enough and it makes an impact and somebody can take something away from it. And they're like, yeah, come on over. So drove over to Bethany with my wife, Maddie, or at the time, not my wife, but my fiance. And I'm about to go up and I'm super nervous. I wasn't nervous about what exactly I was going to talk on because I felt like there was some value there. It was more like me. When am I going to be able to deliver this? Am I going to be able to help them understand this in a great way? And luckily, both the Bethany one and then even the Zoom call that I had with Bishop Watterson, they both went great. And I was like, I really love this. This is great. I love being able to talk and coach young men to be better. And again, it took me kind of back to that football time. And I was like, okay, well, how can I do this full time? How can I make this a thing that I do all the time? And I was like, well, the only way to do it is probably to start a business. And I have no clue how to start a business. I have no clue how to run a business, but let me figure it out. Just like I figured out coaching. I wasn't the best coach when I first started. So probably not going to be the best performance coach or the best business owner initially, but I can figure it out. So I was doing some research, figured out what I needed to do, kind of had a base game plan or a business plan of what I wanted to do. And on January 11th, 2023, A1pha Pack was born. And that was a pivotal thing for me because I know myself and I know that I'm either all in or all out on something. And so I knew if I just kept pushing it off, that eventually I wouldn't do it. So I was like, let's just start a business and we're going to have to figure it out as we go. So when we think about A1pha Pack, like what is A1pha Pack? A1pha. I always think back to when I was a kid. And it's funny because over the Christmas holidays, my wife and I were going through some ornaments that my mom was keeping for me. And we keep pulling out all these ornaments. And one's like a golden retriever. Another one's a Rottweiler. Another one's a black lab. So I had all these things from when I was like 9, 10, 11 years old. And they're all dogs. And so I've always loved dogs and the idea of wolves and having that. So that's part of it. It's kind of been something that's always been in me. But then the idea of like just a natural pack mentality and having an alpha in a pack that leads and also protects and guides the pack. And I was like, I love that almost idea or that vision of having that someone that's going to impact your life and help you be the best you can be. And so that's where kind of the idea of A1pha Pack started of I want to create a pack of alphas that can go inspire others, go empower others, and help them be the best leaders and high performers they can possibly be. And I think of A1pha Pack as like the best pyramid scheme ever because I don't really reap any benefits from it when it comes to I get to empower 2 people. And if they at least go empower 2 more people, and then those people empower 2 more people, then we just have this giant pyramid scheme. But instead of it just filtering back to me, it filters out into the world. And hopefully the world becomes a better place because we have all these people that are wanting to perform at a high level. They're wanting to lead others. They're wanting to empower them and inspire them to be their best. And that's kind of where the idea of A1pha Pack was born. Now, to kind of break it down a little bit, and again, probably reflecting a little bit on my coaching career, Alpha, A1pha, came from Coach Lou. Coach Sean Lewis, who took over the second year when I was at Kent State, introduced the idea of an alpha to me. Now, Coach Lou is over at San Diego State. He's doing big things, developing young men there and doing a great job, and might be able to get him on at some point as well, hopefully. But Coach Lewis came in after the staff wasn't retained after my first year. And so this is my first time in a situation where when new coaches come in, they can really just fire everybody if they want because they probably know enough people to replace everybody and they have their own guys. Coach Lewis was a little bit different. So it was either the day or the day after that he was hired. I don't really remember, but I remember how he made me feel. Initially, I'm thinking we're all getting fired. It's a new head coach. Why would he keep graduate assistants? He doesn't need to. And it was either that day that he got hired or the day after that he brought all the GAs in, graduate assistants in, and met with us individually. So again, I'm thinking we're getting fired because he's just going to fire us individually, kind of talk to us and tell us, hey, appreciate you, but we're going to move on. Instead, Coach Lewis brings us in. He talks with us, treats us like men, and he lays out what his expectations are for us. And he tells us, this is what I'm expecting. Are you in or are you out? If you're out, there's no hard feelings. But if you're in, you got to be all in. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Coach Lou, I'm all in. I got nothing else. And I'll learn to be on that level and I will live up to those expectations because I'm an all in or all out person. And from there, Coach Lewis kept developing me. Again, I'm a GA on the defensive side of the ball. He's the head coach and is known for his offense and his quarterbacks. Yet he took me on a recruiting visits one time when we were down a full-time coach. And he, again, kept developing me. So the idea for him is to, again, make alphas out of other people. And he brought this idea of an alpha from when he was at Bowling Green and Eastern Illinois, and he taught his players to be the alpha. And for him, an alpha is someone who's constantly improving and then shows up when called upon. And I love that idea. I thought that was huge. And that was probably the first, I guess, second after Ohio Dominican of when I started seeing personal and leadership development for players. And if they do this every single day, not only are they going to be able to perform on the field, but they're going to perform in life. And I thought that was so huge. And Be the Alpha really just stuck with me and kind of helped me understand that. And after I left, while I was still at Kent State, another thing came up. When I was working with the linebackers and Coach Will Wyndham, they were the wolf pack, right? So you have another wolf mentality. Then when I went to Wheeling, I asked the linebackers what they wanted to have as their positional name. Wolf pack again. So having that identity and that mentality of a wolf pack kept sticking around. And that's kind of what brought me to creating an alpha pack and the idea of wolves and creating a pack of just a bunch of alphas that are going to go impact this world. And again, it's that ripple effect out to the world of it starts in the center, but if we just keep impacting more and more and more, this world will hopefully become a better place. So the idea and the mission, I guess, truly, the mission and the vision behind Alpha Pack is to empower people to impact the world. That's the whole vision. It's just to empower them to impact the world. So hopefully we make it a better place. We do this through mental performance coaching built to unleash the best version of you and cultivate that leadership inside of you. I believe that everybody can be a leader. Some people are more natural, but a lot of people can be taught how to be a leader if they truly want to be. And it's just understanding some different principles and being able to just to attack one day at a time and control the controllables in your life and then have that focus on being a high performer through the disciplines and the confidence that you instill in yourself. And so those are some of the things that I believe Alpha Pack's able to do, and we're building it day by day. It is very hard, I will tell you that. There are days that I'm like, I wish I was here. I wish I could skip ahead. I wish I could do this. But the foundation that we're building here at Alpha Pack, my wife and I, is truly what's going to help us get to where we want to go. And I always have to remind myself, and sometimes I even remind her, are we building a pop-up tent or are we building Rome? Because a pop-up tent will go up in like 10 seconds, but a stiff wind's going to blow it over. Rome, it might take a long time to build, but it's going to be able to withstand years and years and generations. And that's what I want to build is Rome. So that's the idea of just taking it one day at a time, one brick at a time, one day at a time, and just attacking whatever the work is in front of us to make sure that we're building it correctly. So with Alpha Pack, who do I coach? Who do I work with? Who are my clients? Well, right now, a lot of the clients that I'm working with are high school, college, and professional athletes. I do work with some business professionals. And again, it just depends on who wants to perform at a high level, who wants to be the best version of themselves, who wants to be the leader that can go impact and help their team, their department, their organization, whatever it is. And those are the people I want to work with. And how we work with them is we help with mental blocks, some mindset, focus, confidence, discipline, and leadership. Those are going to be the main areas that we focus on. Now, being able to do that, it takes me learning who they are, learning what their goals are, learning what drives them, and being able to understand that to help them be their best self. And I'm able to do this through team coaching where I'll coach a whole team through some different speaking sessions and coaching sessions with them. And then I'll do some group coaching. I do some one-on-one coaching and then speaking engagements in general. So those are some different things of how I am able to coach these people up, and would love to work with anybody that is open to some mental performance coaching to help them be the best leader and performer they can be. So, this past year, I'm going to kind of flip more towards the present, but a little bit of the past. This past year has been the most growth I've ever seen in my life. So I'm 33, and out of my 33 years, this is the most growth I've ever seen. And there were a lot of highs and there were some really low lows. And being able to get through those lows has really helped me be more present, helped me be able to understand that every day matters. And I think that that's something that I needed to go through. Wish I didn't have to go through, but I needed to go through in order to be who I am today. And understanding that personal growth has been able to help me be a better coach for the people that I'm working with. And I think back to my time as a undergrad. As an undergrad, I was an education and math major. Thought I was going to become a high school teacher and a high school coach. Obviously, that didn't pan out that way. But one of the things that stuck with me is teaching people how to learn and teaching them the way that they learn best. So we all learn through some different ways, and it's visual, auditory, or kinetic. And those are going to be the three ways that most people will learn. And so it's being able to understand what the clients, and then when I was coaching football, what the players needed. And so helping me understand now what I was learning back then has been huge, because I was able to use that in football with, we're going to work on the board. We're going to watch film. I'm going to talk them through it. We're going to go out in the field and we're going to walk through some stuff. So hitting all three, so that way they're learning as much as possible in the best way that they learn, because everybody's going to learn differently. And by being able to know that, I'm bringing that into now. I'm able to teach them through diagrams. I'm able to teach them through actually practicing stuff. I'm able to teach them through just vocalizing and coaching them through some different things. And I think that's huge, because for me, I've learned in my time, and I get this from Coach Ben Needham, who was the defensive coordinator when I was at Kent State for the first year. Ben Needham always told me, players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's stuck with me since. And I use that with my clients now. They got to know that I care about them, and I do. I want them to be the best them. I hope that I can do everything I can, and to see them grow, and specifically see one of my recent clients for this past year, Javon Johnson, grow and exceed expectations that he even had for himself, of becoming an all-conference linebacker in the indoor football league, winning a championship there, has been just huge. And to see that growth gives me chills. I literally have chills right now. And I really just love that. And building that relationship kind of has stemmed over from when I was a football coach to now being a mental performance coach. And I really, really love that. And so it's, like I said, the most growth I've had ever in my life. And it's because it's more of the personal development has been intentional. Where before, when I was coaching, it was more of like, oh, I'll post something here. Someone says this, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that in my life, or I'm going to use that in my coaching. And now it's been more of like, I'm going to lock in and focus on just developing me as a person, me as a coach. And I feel like that's really helped me become a better coach for all my clients currently. And one of the biggest things, and I guess hurdles that I'm still working through, is being an active listener. And a lot of people say that they listen, and I'm sure they do. But are they actually hearing people? Are they listening to respond, or are they listening to actually hear what the person is saying? And that's one thing that has really helped me right now to be a better performance coach. Because if I'm just listening to respond and just fix their problem, I'm not truly hearing them. I'm not truly understanding even the emotions behind that. And I think that's been a huge thing for me, to be able to understand where they're at, what they're struggling with, and how are we going to get them to the end results that they want. And by being able to be more intentionally focused on listening and then being very inquisitive in my questions to get to the root problem, I feel like that's really, really helped me become a better performance coach and a better person overall. So the last piece that I'll touch on is, why is it leading the pack, right? It's just me talking right now, I guess, and then hopefully we'll have some guests that come on. But why is it leading the pack? Well, I'm hoping that you as listeners are going to be able to lead in the environment that you're in. So not only am I hopefully helping you and leading you, but hopefully you can take what you learn from these episodes and then apply them to your environment so you start leading your pack. And it's just the way to encourage everyone to keep striving to be the alpha of their own life, to build the community and a pack of high performers and strong leaders in the environment they're in. And that environment could be your workplace, could be your friends, could be your family, right? All those are different environments that you could be a leader in. And I want that to be what you take out of this. Learn from it. Take the tools that you can apply, take the habits, take the strategies or the mentalities that you can bring to your environment and the life that you live so that you can be the highest performer you can and the best leader that you can be as well. So I'm hoping to inspire belief that fuels just a daily discipline of high performance and leadership throughout your life. And that's why it's called leading the pack. So I really appreciate everybody joining. Thank you for tuning in to Leading the Pack. I hope you enjoyed just learning a little bit more about me in this first podcast. The plan, again, is to bring in some guests eventually. These next couple that are coming up are, again, just going to be me talking about the things that have impacted me, talking about some different mental performance coaching that I do and the different principles that I teach. And then at the end of the day, bring in those people that you can learn from them as well. Because again, I'm learning, I'm trying to become the best I can be. I know I'm not there yet, but I know I have some value to bring. And I know that they probably have even more value to bring. So that's why I'm hoping to bring them on. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Leave a review, share this podcast, like it, and make sure that you're just ready to go every single time it comes up. If you're looking to improve your leadership and take your performance to the next level, I'd love to coach you. I'd love to be that coach that helps you get to that next level. So reach out to me directly. I'll put my email and my social media links in the description. And if you're looking to take that next step, just please reach out. So I really appreciate everything. Next time, like I said, I'm going to talk more about diving into some core principles and mental performance coaching that I'm able to bring as a coach. But until next time, stay hungry, keep leading your pack, and now go attack the work.